Bonjour and welcome into the cave. My guest today comes from Vienna and takes me right back to the early 2000s. My emo self had a whole indie phase back then, listening to bands like Phoenix, Arctic Monkeys, Tudor Cinema Club, Vampire Weekend and Falls. Discovering my guest brought that feeling right back, and honestly it felt good. With Athena, his new album, he mixes playful, sometimes funny lyrics with a real sense of melancholy. And there is something deeply endearing about that combination, and we're going to talk all about it today. Fio is here with me today. Hi, Fio.
I'm
How are you doing?
fine, thanks. And you?
I'm doing well, thank you. The moment the episode will be released, your new album, Athena, will be also released. And
Nice.
but right now, when we are talking about it, not yet, but you have released a few songs. So, how has been the feedback so far?
I think the feedback is very interesting because there are a lot of things happening around the releases that I personally didn't expect in a very positive sense, like, I don't know, placements in certain playlists I've never been in, or articles around the different songs. And of course, it didn't get the huge, explosive viral moment, which I'm personally not seeking at the moment, but there were a lot of, I guess there was a sense of understanding. I think it was the first time for me as an artist that like the responses were very like, okay, I get it now, right? Like I see the visual idea, I hear the music, and it all kind of has this symbiosis, and this was very nice.
I got lucky enough to listen to it before, and I can say that I really enjoyed it. So, congrats on that.
That's cool. Thanks.
And the first song we are going to talk about, and the first line is off of your new album, Athena, with the song Athena, which is the last song of the album.
Mhm.
And you chose the line, I am sorry in advance for my accent, for my German
No
accent.
worries, no worries.
Deine Lieblingsfarbe Blau sieht für mich ganz anders aus. Du fühlst dich niemals wie ich. Und das fühle ich irgendwie auch. Which translates to your favorite color, blue, looks so different to me. You never feel the way I do, and somehow I feel that too.
Kind of rhymes in English as well.
Yeah, a bit. So why did you choose this song and this line?
I think the title song is a very antagonistic example for the whole album, because I think it's one of the only songs which kind of is a bit more, I don't know, not in the lane that we intended to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the rest of the album is very like mono, in a sense that we chose particular sounds for a reason, because the intention was to make something that is very stylistic and as a whole, and really has a top and a bottom. And the title song came about very late in the process of writing the album. It was like, I think it was the last song that we did, which is kind of ironic because it's the title of the whole thing. But yeah, it came together in such an organic way because Jacob, the producer of the whole thing, my best friend, and he's also on drums when we play live, we had this like very weird moment where we didn't talk about that we wanted to make something slow and like dramatic, but it was kind of obvious to the both of us. So it really happened just in a very organic and authentic way, and this is the reason why we kept it that way, because we could have taken it further and really tried to push it into the mold of the rest of the album. But I think we intentionally said, you know what, this is good as it is. It's very spacey and the vocals are very airy, and it's obviously ballad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously reminiscent about like the, I don't know, early Coldplay stuff or the 1975 or something like that. And since it was the title track and we knew, I really dove deep in like some things that I liked to explore but didn't get the chance to on the rest of the album, because I think the lyric style on that one is very different from the rest of the songs. It's more like a linear story that like happens, starts at A and finishes at B, in my opinion. And it's very introspective. And the line that you were referring to, I think it encapsulates the theme that I wanted to address. I think I read somewhere about like a concept in, I don't know, I think it's psychology or something. It's called qualia, which is like this weird paradox thing that you and me have very different perceptions of the same things,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of open to interpretation. Some say it's pretty sad that it's like that. Others say it makes us individuals, and which is kind of like romantic and positive. And this is the theme that I explored in the track, and I think those lines encapsulate it very well, because like the color blue is such like a, everybody sees the color blue, but we all see it differently, and I kind of feel that, right?
Okay, so I've read the whole lyrics of the song too, and your explanation gives me a new meaning to it.
Oh, okay.
Because also my German is not the best, so maybe that might be why. But I translated it, and it felt like maybe two people who have a common history, but in the end will never meet, because you also talk about parallel lines in the song.
Hmm.
So, parallel lines that never meet. So, yeah, it changes a bit my perspective of the song, but I guess songs are also open to interpretation to every
Of
listeners.
course, this is the best thing about them. And I think the line with the parallel lines that never meet was, again, this is like a very interesting picture, because when you look at parallel lines going into infinity, they look like they're going to meet. And I guess nobody of us can know if they are not meeting in infinity, because who knows? And
Mm-hmm.
I think it's all very, I try to stay vague on purpose, just because it's obviously it's love story between two persons, and I think I am always very cautious when I go into spaces like that lyrically, because I think there's this huge danger zone of becoming very cheesy very fast. And I try to avoid that as best as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but in the end, I think it's just a very pretty song. And yeah.
I hope, because I like it very much.
And what was your mindset or your emotions when you wrote that song?
I think it started on a very intellectual level, which kind of always is very soothing for me. I think it's always good for me as a writer if I don't get the feeling that I need to start from a personal perspective, and I don't need to grab a shovel and really dig into my feelings and dig something up because I'm in desperate need of inspiration. I became, during this album, I became a huge fan of having external factors of inspiration. That could be like, I don't know, psychological concepts as on Athena, or society, changes in society and internet culture, things that I can look at from afar and just like be the observer of things. Because if I have something like that, then the personality stuff kind of drips into that, and I can like control it. And the mindset was for this song and the whole album was like just to stay curious, right? I think we have this weird tendency of dumbing ourselves down when it comes to like maybe entertainment cycles on the phone, or is it like a new series on Netflix, whatever. And I think it's always very unintentional, because it's like just this entertainment cycle that's just feeding you content on
Mm-hmm.
content on content. And I think it's kind of dumbs you down in a way. And the mindset was to get away from that and try to have as much intention as possible and as much curiosity for the world as it is and as it was and as it maybe will be.
You were talking about the theory that you were explaining in this song. I forgot the name because it was a German name, I guess.
It's qualia, I think. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
And so you said that some people see it as something sad, some people more as a good thing. What is your view on that?
I think it's interesting because I was very torn between the poles of positivity and negativity when it came to the exploration of this topic. And this was just a way for me to keep it interesting. I always like things that are vague, things that are not very determined to be something positive or something negative. And so the first impression of the thing was, I think, negative, because I was like, holy shit, like I've never thought about that. And yeah, the first thoughts that came to my mind were like, this is fucked up, right? As hard as I can try to have a universal experience of things, it's just impossible to do. But with time came a bit of a change of mind. The aspect of, holy shit, that just makes us individual human beings, which is very nice to have reassured in times like these, where it's always very like, okay, everybody gets into this small individual space and everybody just gets through the days. I think concepts like these raise the positive value of being individual, which is always good.
I guess if I would explain it to a 5-year-old, it would be like, this is why I like broccolis and you don't, you
Yes,
know,
yes, exactly.
basically.
Which is always good to, it's always good to drop it down to explain it to me like I'm 5.
But also, when you go a bit deeper, I think it can also help you with your relationships with anyone, because sometimes, we don't understand each other because we think the person thinks exactly like we do. And it just helps us to have another point of view and to realize that I've heard that there are 3 sides of a story: the one that person A thinks, the one that person B thinks, and the truth. And
Yeah,
it's a bit,
that's true.
and it
That's true, yeah.
can help to have also some sympathy for people and to put yourself in their shoes.
Yes, which is kind of, in my opinion, an aspect that is very much missing in today's modernity, because I always get the feeling, especially when I'm out and about in the internet, that this is a skill set that is sort of like missing right now when it comes to conversations and exchanging opinions, or just being together. It's just like a huge void of empty space when it comes to that. And I think this is very, very, very sad.
Hmm. Yeah, sometimes I can be like that also to some extent. Like, I cannot understand why people can think the opposite of me, but it's more touching about human rights or things like that. But
Sure, sure, sure. Sure, sure,
but
sure.
even sometimes I have a really hard time with people criticizing for free, like no one asks for their opinion and they're like, I know the truth, this is shit, and if you think that this is good, then you are shit. On the internet now, everyone can give their opinion for free, so we see it more and more.
Yeah, I recently had a conversation with Jacob. It was like actually 2 days ago, where I seldom get like really just bad vibes on the internet, fortunately for me. But sometimes it does happen. It's maybe someone writing just like stupid shit on stuff that I do. And like a thing like this happened 2 days ago, and it really like bugged me, because it, due to the fact that they are very rare, and it's always very rare that it happens to me, fortunately, again. But yeah, we talked a lot about what makes someone think to just be like that, right? Like just
Hmm.
to abuse the internet, just to write unproductive and unconstructive criticism. He was saying something like, it's just like cheap copy of band. I think it was a cheap copy of the Strokes, and this is the music thing is not gonna happen for you. Which was like, so like, it was so invasive, like, because I was like, how dare that you say that my whole thing that I'm trying to build will not work out due to the fact that you saw one thing. And I think we came to the conclusion that these people have certain ways which are very toxic and negative that they are trying to articulate, which like just scream for attention. I think they want to find validation in their view of things. They are striving for like things like, see 20 people liked my comment. So I think they are desperate to finding people because maybe they have like the need for those people in real life, because I also have opinions. I think there's a lot of music out there that's fucking shit. But I talk about that not on the internet in some comment section, because I just go out with my mates or have a good time with them and have a couple of beers and chat, and everybody says like, oh yeah, I've heard this album. I don't think it's that great. I think it's maybe a bit overrated or whatever. And it's far more civilized because we never, I don't know, me and my friends, we never say stuff like, this is so shit, he's never gonna make it. Like, no, I think you can like something or you can not like something, which is perfectly fine. You can not like my music. I'm cool with that. I'm not cool with people who are invading the space in a way that's just so unconstructive.
And he thought he had the absolute truth that you will never make it because he didn't like it. So, of course, it's not going to work.
Yes. And I'm not a fan of absolutes.
Yeah. And the thing is, you get 99% of good comments, and it's always the 1% that impacts you. How do you deal with it? Yeah.
I think we as humans have the tendency of being our own worst critic, and I think we have this weird filter system where we like kind of almost like seek those things. We want them to happen to us. I don't know. I think it's deep down there is this weird self-destructive thing inside us that we want to have the validation that our thing that we do is shit, because every artist that I know of and that I talk to, we all have those moments where we be like, I don't know, imposter syndrome-esque, or we be like, I guess I'm not that good and I'm shit. And I think those comments, they validate this aspect of the personality in a way. I try my best to not stay away from engaging with those kind of things, because when you just concentrate on creating, it kind of gets easier to stay away from that negative space. It's very sad for me to say this, but it's kind of soothing that it happens to everybody in a way. But there's no artist that I can think of who is free of the cruelty on the internet, unfortunately. But this is a systematic problem.
Yeah, and it comes back to the theory you're tackling in the song. This is a universal experience. Everyone has it, but everyone has different reactions to it.
Yes, definitely.
And did you have moments while you were writing the album of you were feeling like you didn't deserve it, like an imposter syndrome?
Not a lot, but I definitely have those moments. I think they always come with other aspects of my life when my life is crumbling or cracking a bit. Like last week, I got insanely sick. I had like a very bad flu, and with all the perks of it, and it kind of like just broke me down into pieces, and I was like basically stuck to a bed for 5 days in a row. And when my body crashes down, then my mind crashes down, and then of course things like that appear, and it takes again some time. As the body recovers, the mind kind of recovers as well, and then in the end, fortunately, all those thoughts also disappear. But yeah, I have those as well. And for the last year writing this album, I took a toll on my friends a lot. I think there were a lot of moments where I called one of my friends in particular, or a group of friends, and we gathered around like we always do, and I always had something to complain about. Like maybe it was my self-doubts, or something didn't work out the way I planned it to. But I guess in the end, staying flexible and having the mantra that you can only control what's present in your life, and even in the presence you can't really control everything, kind of makes it easier for me. And this is a thing that I really learned to apply on daily basis when it comes to making music, because if you don't, you just crash out at some point.
Yeah, I think it's kind of healthy to see it that way and helps you to be more present in the moment and work on the things that are right now rather than thinking about everything that will happen, which is basically
Mm-hmm.
the definition of anxiety, to worry about what will happen in the future.
Yes, it's all hypothetical.
Coming back to the song with the lyrics, and even just the song itself sounds pretty melancholic, but is the song more about accepting the distance that you can have with a person, or is it more resignation?
I think, again, there's this duality happening. I think musically speaking, I think the instruments are very dramatic and accepting the inevitability of being separated, and maybe things stay that way, because I think especially in the end it just gets this very heavy feeling of, I guess there's not really a positive outcome to this. But I think, I hope that my vocals and the way that I deliver the message that I'm trying to deliver kind of have a sense of hope in them,
Mm-hmm.
because the personality aspect that came into the song was that I was in a situation of separation in a geographical sense. I never experienced like that. It was just like this insane distance that I couldn't even comprehend it was that far. It was like
Mm-hmm.
New York and Vienna, to be specific. And for me, this was just like a whole new experience. There were like time zone issues, which kind of tore down the construct of my day-to-day life,
Mm-hmm.
because I lived in a different time, and it was this distance that I never had experienced. And it took me to a pretty dark place, because I felt so helpless, because I didn't have any reference points for me to handle the situation. From that emotion and from this vulnerability that I experienced, and the lack of experience when it came to the situation, I think those are the energies that I needed, something to reassure me that there was hope still, because you have like head cinema, and every scenario plays in your head, and it's always very negative, because again, you're your own worst critic. And I think I tried to give me some hope, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody that I could talk to had experience like these, and had experience with those feelings. And so I felt a bit like lost in translation, or like lost in the space. And I tried to give myself some pep talk with that. And that's the reason that in the chorus it's the line jetzt, glaubst du, ich hab dich vergessen?
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of like, do you really believe that I could forget you,
Mm-hmm.
or forget about you? And this was something that where I wanted intentionally to give myself the power back, and regain my courage, and to navigate through those wild seas that I didn't have a map for.
Did you write the song at this moment, or did you write it after and, reminiscing those
No,
feelings?
it was in the middle of the moment.
Okay.
Which is kind of something that I try to avoid, because I think it can be very counterproductive, because you are far too attached to the feeling itself, in my opinion. This is something that I experienced while doing this immediate responsive songwriting. I think you kind of are too much in the feeling still, and it's very hard to let go. I think it can seem very therapeutic in the first place, but I think with time comes reflection and sorting the thing out and really looking on it from above and having a kind of distance between that, and it's always far more productive. But in this particular case, it was just like I always try to go with the energy, and the energy was to have a song again for me to soothe the soul and have a kind of regaining my power that I needed to navigate through the situation.
I can understand what you mean with trying to not write when you're full in your feelings. I talked about it in another episode. Jordan Dreyer, the vocalist of La Dispute, was telling about the songs he regrets a bit because now he doesn't feel like it at all. And unfortunately for him, that's like a fan favorite.
Same. Know
But
the feeling.
yeah, but at the same time, we were saying that maybe he thought about this 10 years ago, but maybe at this very specific moment, someone needs to hear this now.
That's true. Yeah. I think it's very important, or this is something that I learned in the last year, because in the last year we played a lot of shows, me and Jacob. And when you play, like, I don't know, 40 shows, obviously you kind of get sick and tired of certain sections of songs or songs as a whole, unfortunately. For example, like the album that we are talking right now about, like, this has been the last year of my life. Like, the songs, they happened, I got the idea, they were finished in the writing process, they were produced, mixed, mastered, and making videos for it and re-listening and hearing the masters there and the vinyl and stuff. But something that I learned through this last year and through those shows, there's a moment where I need to step down as an artist and just be a medium for people. I can translate certain feelings to people, and they have experiences with those translations. In my case, those are songs and lyrics. You can find a lot of beauty in this aspect of being an artist, having the ability to be on stage and transporting people into a world, and they are trying to have emotional experiences. And this is something that makes music so good, because when I think about me as a consumer, it's the same thing. I love songs of bands where I know, or I've heard them in interviews say that they hate those numbers. But it's just this insane, I have this insanely vivid memory of myself hearing the song for the first time, or having a very intimate relationship with it. And then maybe it's the thing that musicians have to do, transporting the people that see you on stage or hearing you on the record or meeting you in another situation, that you are the thing that has the ability to transport them to this moment.
Exactly. Yeah. When I was talking about it, I saw your reaction that maybe you also have one of those songs of yourself.
I yeah. I have, of course, I have a lot of a lot of songs that I grew a bit tired of, which is perfectly fine for
Yeah.
me. I know this sounds very unromantic, but if for a short moment we look at doing music as a job, and it's just another job like everybody else doing their jobs, I can't think of a single person who doesn't tell me, yeah, there's a huge percentage of my job which I don't like. Either it's having this fucked up meeting on Tuesday at 7:30, or having to deal with client A via email for the last 2 months. There's always a realistic percentage of things that you don't like, but you have to do. And this makes it a bit more unromantic, I know, but music is a job, and my job is to get on stage and perform those songs. And if people have very beautiful moments with that, that just makes it easier for me to get over this 20-30% of things that I don't like to do as a musician.
Yeah.
The same thing is, of course, I'm not a huge fan of always appearing on social media and doing my videos and talking and thinking of new ways to get to the people. But if people have cool associations with that, for example, if a video helps a person that's never heard of me before explore, and this person writes in the comment section or sends me a DM being like, I've never heard of you, but this is sick, and the 20-30% are not that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess if I turn gray and old playing my same old shitty songs, it's perfectly fine, because as long as people have good times with that, or even bad times. I mean, I don't know. There are obviously, I have music to cry to as well. It's not always dancey and stuff, but every time I see those faces in the crowd, or I get those messages that my music has helped people through certain situations, or they have this association, oh, it sounds like the first summer where went to Vienna and had the best time of my life, that's perfect. There's nothing more that I can ask for, to be honest.
Yeah, it completely makes up for all the bad sides of it.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And it's funny because you talked about meeting on Tuesday at 7:30, and we are recording right now on Tuesday at 7:30. But
Oh shit! I've meant 7:30 in the morning. This was not it was not a front to your podcast. I'm very much enjoying this. I
no,
I I hope I look like that as well. But
even if that was the case, I wouldn't have taken it personally. No
okay, fair.
worries.
Thanks. That's very nice.
And I think now we can slowly transition into the second line that you
hmm
wanted to talk about, which is from the band Geese and their song Au Pays du Cocaine, with the lyrics, like a sailor in a big green boat, like a sailor in a big green coat, you can be free and still come home. Why did you
Yes.
choose this line?
I think Geese was like my latest discovery in music, which as time progresses and as I progress as a musician myself, it happens far less that I discover something which really rocks my world. And
Hmm.
last year it was McGee, I think, and this year it's the album of Geese. And I don't know why it just has this gravitational force on me, because to be honest, obviously it's not the easiest music to listen to. It's obviously very art rock and it's a bit experimental, but it has this very unique mixture of being modern and being completely out of time. And they have this very old, I think they have a lot of elements that are classic rock, and obviously they have this weird new wave country elements to that. And if you throw everything into the mix, it makes up a very interesting product. But then comes Cameron Winter as lyricist and as a singer, and he has this very distinctive voice that just feels so familiar. I think he has a voice that, if you are a bit more familiar with indie rock and the indie genre, especially around like late 90s, 2000s, 2010s, he has this very weird mixture of vocalists that I just admire, from Julian Casablancas, from Strokes. I think he has a lot of that, but he has this weird Elliott Smith, Jeff Buckley thing as well. And he was just, I don't know, he took my world by storm, and especially this track. The last time that I've heard something quite like this was a long time ago. And I kind of had the feeling while listening to the track, I don't know, it was like this weird feeling where when I was like 13 or 14, my father had this record collection, right? He was like a kid from the 60s and 70s, and obviously he was very much into the rock revolution and the Stones and the Beatles, but also like Pink Floyd and weird stuff, Electric Light Orchestra, stuff like that. And I was, at the time, I was very much into being a guitarist. I had practice lessons and stuff like that, but I had this very classical view on guitar because I was still a kid. At one point, my dad, he kind of stepped into my room. I'm not sure if that's exactly how it was, but my mother is gonna fact check that podcast anyway, so she's gonna, I don't know, maybe get rude with me for portraying that differently. But I know I'm romanticizing that. But anyway, I think he stepped into my room and kind of interrupted whatever that I was doing back then, and he was like, "Come," and then he had this fucked up vinyl player and he put it into my room, set up some speakers, and then he started to carry all his old vinyl into my room and started to show me what, in his opinion, real music was. I think he just wanted to have a bond moment with his son, and it kind of worked because it rocked my world. And this was the last time that I really had a cathartic experience like that. I remember it was like maybe something from the Jimi Hendrix experience or something like that. I was so innocent, and I still could be so much informed and formed in a physical sense. And I think this ability, you kind of lose it over time, right? Because we grow up, we get more conscious, and we get more informed by algorithms or our friends or relationships, and those very intimate moments that we have as children, where we have those very cathartic experiences with music, for example. It was the closest thing to magic that I've ever seen. And I had a similar experience with this album, and especially this track. I remember the first time where those lines that you just mentioned really hit were like when I drove on the freeway, and I listened to the track on, and I knew the lines were coming, and I started to kind of form my opinion about what they maybe could mean. But then it just hit, and maybe it was the whole moment, and it was like amplified by that. But I had this immediate flashback to this moment where my dad showed me good music.
So it took you maybe 15 years to relive a moment
Yeah,
like this.
15, yeah.
And so you were talking about the fact that when you listened to it, you formed your opinion about it. What is your opinion of the meaning of this song?
I mean, I think obviously the title suggests that it's drug related, but I never really had the feeling that it is. I mean, I've already spent some time on Reddit and in forums because I was very interested in, okay, what's the meaning? And um I think there were so much beautiful ways of interpretations, and for me the first interpretation was just like, I took it very figuratively. The picture that he paints in those four lines of a sailor in a big green boat with a big green coat that just wants to be free, but there's this thing or this voice telling him, you can be free, but you can still come home. And for me, like my dad was a sailor, and he was very passionate about sailing, and he passed away, I think, 1.5 years ago. And I think it just took me into the space of his soul, because I always have this vivid picture of him being on a boat and being free, but I still want him to come home. And I think this was like the first thing that I put into the song. And I think it still is, and I'm gonna stick with that story because it's just for me. But I think it's about things like, okay, what does it mean to be free? What does it mean to have a home? Because a home doesn't need to be a place. Everybody needs a place, but a place can be a person as well. I know this sounds very vague, but I guess. And yeah, those were like the energies that came for me in the first place from this song, and I still stick with them because I think I don't try to get too bothered with what's the literal meaning of so what was Cameron Winter's intention of writing it? Because again, as you beautifully said a couple of minutes before, the cool thing about songs is that everybody can interpret them in their own ways and have a personal experience with that.
Exactly. And for you, it's like a full circle moment because the first moment where you had this experience with music was with your dad. And here you also
Yes.
experience it also with your dad. Like he's still,
Yes.
he's still in those moments.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's so beautiful. I follow them on social media, so and they have those videos up and running where they perform the track because I think they're on tour right now. And I think they know that this song really resonates with people, and they have this ongoing individualistic interpretations of those lines, and they always have a section of the song with the lines, and they always pan on someone in the first row having a cathartic experience. I don't know, it's either crying or singing it insanely loud, and it's always this very raw emotional moment. And again, this just makes it even more comforting to have a song like this from a band like this, because I'm I'm looking at those videos and be like, fuck yes, I'm not the only one who has like an experience like this, which would be also obviously okay, but this kind of makes us human again, because as I see people from around the world having experiences with the song that have emotional intensity, it kind of gets me the feeling, we're not all that distant from each other. We are all kind of connected through stuff like music. And I think that again was very motivating for me as an artist as well, because I was like, okay, maybe this is, I don't want to say a higher calling because I don't think it's that deep, but I think I have a thing that I need to do, and I'm here for that reason, for doing that, and I'm trying my best to have a lot of people that have similar experiences with stuff that I make and create.
Have you already noticed that a bit with the feedback from the songs that are already out?
I think a bit. I think the internet at first instance is always a bit more distant when it comes to stuff like that, because I think it takes a lot of courage to write me a message telling me about a very personal thing, because obviously we don't know each other. It happens, but it doesn't happen that often, which is good because I'm not a therapist. I'm just a musician. I mean, I always have an open ear. I try at least. But I think it takes a lot of courage to do that. As I go on tour in November, I'm looking forward to having those experiences again, seeing people, seeing faces, seeing the crowd, feeling the energy, and having like there's nothing between them and me.
Yeah.
And it's just this intimate space that we create, which is just so beautiful. And I'm very much looking forward to having these experiences again.
Like being all in a room and you sharing that with them and the opposite, and also the crowd between each other.
Yes, I think if the space is created in a good way, it just glows with safety and vulnerability and the potential to be something very unique.
Mm-hmm.
And this just makes live music that much more important in today's age, in my opinion, because The rest is just consumerism, unfortunately.
Yeah, if we listen to songs on a record player on Spotify, it's just one way. When live music, it's going both ways and actually makes it real.
Yeah, it definitely makes it real. And again, this is maybe referring back to the mindset that I tried to apply when doing that album. This is maybe like also a message for people listening, like do stuff with intention, right? Do something with intention, stay curious and stay out of the loop as much as possible, because everything that you do intentionally has a huge potential of being very positive for the development of oneself. And this is always good to have.
Yeah, definitely. Coming back to the song, so I know you said you didn't like to try to see what the person meant with that,
Mm-hmm.
but this is also the theme of my podcast. We cannot ask him what he meant with that, but I can ask you what you think about it and what your meaning for it, not what you think he meant, but so we're talking about freedom and what is it to you? What is your home?
Okay, like home was a big theme in the last year, because I changed places and I moved and I searched for a flat for like, I don't know, 7 months straight, which was like just intense. There's this song Check In on the album, which kind of deals with that as well, and with the very, I don't know, daydreamy idea of moving into the jeans pocket of my favorite human being and just like fuck everyone else. I don't need a flat. I just need your jeans pocket, and everything's gonna be fine. But like the theme home for me was like very it has had a lot of stages, if I may say. It was something that I refused to talk about for months, because I didn't want to confront myself with the fact that I don't have a home at the moment and I sleep on a couch on the sofa of my sister's boyfriend, which was a very like, okay, now I don't know. I don't know. I'm just always in between. There's no place that I can call home, which is, it was very hard for me to accept that. Now there's a home. I have a new place that I start to make my home, and it's a very beautiful experience. I would wish that I could turn everything else off for the next 3-4 months and just do that, and just
Mhm.
really like completely be in this process. It was a process that I never quite experienced like that, and I really want to take it in as much as possible, because I don't want to do it unintentionally and just like, okay, I have my things that I do my day to day, and on the side I'm kind of renovating the place. This is something that I am trying to stay away from, because I just want to take my time with that and really build something that lasts and gives me a sense of belonging. This was my journey with the thing I call home. I lost it. I hadn't had something like that for a long time, and now I regained it and have a new place. And it does something to you and your emotional state, I think. Kind of learn how precious it is to have something that you can call home.
Yeah, because I guess home is also the place where you can just completely stop thinking and it's just your own bubble. Also, you were talking about the fact that you wish you could, for 3-4 months, do nothing and just take care of this home,
Yeah. Yeah.
which will not happen because you will go on tour.
Yeah, that's
But
true. There's stuff I need to do.
but also, I think especially for people who travel a lot, who go on tour or for whatever job, once you travel everywhere, you have one place to go where you can just rest after and find yourself.
That's true. And I think, especially when it comes to what is in this home, what pictures are up on the wall, what's on the desk, and all these weird little things that make a space your space. I think it's very interesting to think about the concept of that, because I'm getting the sense that humanity is turning towards the behavior of, I'm just buying a bunch of stuff from IKEA and putting it there, and then I have a home. No, you don't. You don't have a home. You have a place, but I think the place is not your home. Not yet. With time, there comes experiences. Experiences maybe that leave things, and those things, when they come into the place, they transfer it into a home. In my opinion, there are a lot of small things that I don't know where the fuck I got them. 10 years old, I don't know, old lyric books, or this like Matchbox car, for example, that I got Jacob last year or something, or I don't know, fucking sandalwood that you burn for incense or something. I think those things make the home.
So now if we enter into your place, we will see who Flo is and what is.
I hope, yeah. This is the thing that's maybe the reason where, of course, there are certain areas of my flat that I like to show, because I'm kind of proud how they look, and I'm kind of okay with showing that. Even, I don't know, if I do a video showing what I wear, or if I'm just it's a video of me singing or talking or doing whatever. But when it comes to the whole thing the whole flat as a whole, then I'm trying to stay away of showing that too much, because it's me, and I'm very much out in the open when it comes to portraying my feelings, or singing and playing the guitar, or being in the internet and stuff. But this is something that I like to keep for myself. This is the same reason, like, I kind of started sharing the books I like to read on my pages, my Instagram, my TikTok, because I kind of had this idea of connecting with people through books. But it's such an intimate topic for me that I just can't. I always try. I have those moments where I'd be like, okay, let's try again. Like let's present them with the books I've liked, I've adored, and books that have changed me. But I'm kind of sick of that, because the whole internet is full of people recommending you stuff that you need to read, the 5 books that changed me as a human being, the 5 movies that you need to watch before you're dead, or something. And I always have this feeling of entering a space like that as soon as I'm holding a book up into a camera and being like, this is the book that changed my life. It's not going to change yours, because you're not me. I'm just me. It's not going to change. It's just like, I think it's a bunch of, it's just bullshit. I think people say so much stupid shit on the internet just to get, like, especially the recommendation things, where I'm also, obviously I'm a victim to that. I have a lot of videos saved from books that apparently I need to read, or movies that I apparently need to watch. I could name you 5 books that changed my life forever, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to change yours. Maybe you're going to enjoy them, or maybe you're going to hate them, but they will not change your life the way that they changed mine. This makes it perfectly reasonable for me to be like, I'm just going to do me, and I'm just going to keep that to myself. I'm already giving you music where I hope that I portray as much as possible of myself, because obviously it's self-therapeutic as well. This is a major reason why I do this, to learn stuff about me, and everybody who has experiences along the way is very welcome to join the ride. But when it comes to books or movies, I don't know. I just like to have those for myself.
Yeah, I think it's good once you become a public person, and also smart to show just whatever you want to show and give enough for people to see a side of you, but there is always a side that you keep to yourself, which I think is healthy and important to do.
True. Yeah, it's very healthy and it's very important. If we go on like this, people are going to unlearn how to stay curious for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Go into a bookstore, explore what you like. Let somebody who's working there recommend you something based on what you tell them. Or just blindly grab a fucking book and have a bad experience with it. Because this is as important as having a great experience with a book or music. This is the thing that I always like. People are always very confused why I like to listen to pop radio. I love listening to pop radio, especially while driving in the car. It's not because I adore pop music. I like pop music, to be honest. But the thing that I like so much about it is that I'm not in control. Somebody else is determining what is coming up next. And if I
Mm-hmm.
don't like the song, of course I can switch frequencies, but let's be real, all pop radio kind of is the same. So I don't have that much options. But I kind of like not having those options. I kind of like going into bookstore, grabbing a book, reading until page 50 and be like, this is shit. And putting it away and not being bothered by that. I was in the cinema recently and I saw a movie which was great. And it kind of rocked my world. But the movie before was kind of like, it was all right. But I went with a friend and we had a good experience and we had a chat about how mid the movie is. And this just makes it good again.
Yeah, and especially it's gonna sound very cliche, but also it's true with the algorithm. We are so used to seeing only things that we like, and our brain is always craving for more dopamine or whatever. So I think it's good to sometimes be faced with boredom or
Yeah.
things like that for your brain
Yeah.
to rest a bit and to not ask for it all the time.
Yeah, I adore silence. I'm seeking that as much as possible. And or if I'm bored on my smartphone, I'm trying to be bored by not feeding myself this endless loop, because I think it kind of turns us a bit brain dead, and it kind of, I get the feeling it affects the artistry that comes out of that boredom.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, unfortunately, it's not always that great. I think the outcome is often very bland and everything's fucked up, so it's useless what I do, whatever. Here's a fucking song that I wrote. And it's so unintentional, and it gets celebrated for being like, oh, this is so cool because you don't give a fuck. Nah, it's fucked up because you don't give a fuck. I think it's sad because there are a lot of people out there doing stuff that's so cool, and they do like that with curiosity and intention, and it's a very complicated place for those people right now.
I think not maybe every creative person, I don't hold the holy truth, but I think at least for me, when I get inspiration or ideas coming out of nowhere is when I'm doing nothing and it's not while I'm
Yeah.
scrolling my phone. I can
Yeah.
get inspiration sometimes from people who do the same thing, but this is not how big breakthrough happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with maybe air quotes, big inspiration or individuality comes from having experiences outside of music. I think the album, for example, of course, there was a musical idea that underlay everything, but the intention was, or the inspiration came from myself slowly seeing the 30 mark on my yearbook and having my experiences, for example, the stuff with the home or the experience about long distance stuff, and they all informed a piece of art that I'm very proud of. And it kind of resembles the fact that is maybe very true, to get out there and experience stuff for yourself, experiences that you need to make with yourself, that are either bad or good, or not bad but not good either. Those are all things that are far more important than being on the phone and being like, ah, he does it like that. Oh, he's far more successful than
Mm-hmm.
I am. Ah, she does the music like that. Maybe I need to do it like that. This is the thing that happens. And it happened to me as well during the last year. I catched myself a lot. And Jacob especially was always the guy to pull me back, like really pull my head out of the water and be like, you're getting into the wrong direction here,
Mm-hmm.
because you start to care too much about what's happening in there, while you should invest far more resources into the thing that we do right now, the forming of what we want to say, what he wants to say with his production, and I want to say with my guitar, or he with his drums. Because in the end, and this is, I'm quoting my very talented art director Fiona. She was here recently because we shot the music video for Athena. It was like in a kind of state of mind where I was like, maybe I just work a fucking other job, because I just can't. I'm sick of how things are going on right now, and how things are not moving, or moving in a weird direction. And she gave me a pep talk, as she always does, because she's the best. She talked about herself a bit, how she navigates through the space as an art director, as a creative person in Berlin, while her colleagues do a lot of other stuffs as well. And she has similar problems to me, unfortunately, but fortunately for me, because then I'm not alone. Her words, they didn't have so much weight, but she just be like, in the end, I just try to help people who want to tell stories, as
Mm-hmm.
you want to tell your story. It kind of stuck with me, this thing that she said, because I was like, oh, this is something that didn't cross my mind for a long time, that this is maybe the thing that I do. This is something that I want to do. Maybe this is the stuff that I need to do. I need to tell my story. And this kind of helped me go through that.
Yeah, I can understand that, because it made it about you and stop comparing yourself, because you're doing yourself.
Yes. And there's no one better to do me than me.
Exactly. So, in conclusion, for everyone listening, just be used to being bored, do you, and do things with intentions. I think this is what to take away
Yes, and
from
stay
this.
curious, and then we have
Yeah,
it.
ask questions and
It's the rectangle of ultimate truth.
exactly. And so now that the album is out, what is next for you?
Obviously the tour is coming up, which I'm so insanely looking forward to. I can't even imagine. We are doing a lot of preparations. We rehearse a lot because we want to take the show to the next level. We also have a light installation that comes with the live show, and it's a bit of a hybrid of a music show and a light installation, which kind of makes it very, I don't know, I think it's kind of a hybrid of being in a museum and seeing an art
Mm-hmm.
installation with light, and having music as something that informs this situation. This is something that I look forward to, and it takes up a lot of time. And I am trying to write a book, but it comes along very slowly, which I kind of enjoy, because it's very much away from pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Since I think the spoken word thing on the album really informed my curiosity into the literature world, and I'm kind of keen on trying to explore where it can take me. Maybe it turns out to be shit, but then I at least tried.
Yeah. Is it
And
is
yeah,
it fictional or non-fictional?
I think it's magical realism. I think it's very ambivalent. You don't really know if it's a daydream or if it's reality. And I think it's auto-fictional.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a hybrid between, like, obviously it's my life, but it's also fiction, because I'm not the best at making up really distinct stories. Not yet. I don't know. Maybe at some time. I think the genre, it kind of fits me. It fits the thing that I like to say right now. And this is, yeah, I'm trying to get ahead of that. And we're obviously already recording new songs for future projects and trying to develop the sound. Because the good thing is, if you do album cycles, you can kind of be like, here are 13 songs and a whole visual world, and I'm gonna go transfer you to the next step. And I think this is something that maybe I'm obliged as an artist to do as well, to take people on a ride. And the ride is not linear, in the same car, in the same daytime, and because we want roller coaster, we want change, we want a change of heart, we want a change of mind, and we're trying to change that right now.
At the moment we are talking about, your album is not out yet, but already looking forward to what's next after.
Perfect.
So go listen to Fio's album Athena wherever you listen to music. And if you want to see him live, go check on his Instagram. Maybe he's playing in a city near you. Thank you very much, Flo. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
the conversation.
It was very wonderful.
Thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, you can leave a thumbs up, a like, follow, subscribe, anything that could help. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Into the Cave Pod. I will talk to you again very soon. And meanwhile, be kind to yourself. Bye.